End Zone presented by TiVo rolls on as we head into Week 10 alongside Ian Eagle. I'm Jason Horowitz with you in New York on CBSSports.com and on your TiVo DVR via TiVo Cast. Randy Cross with us in Atlanta. And last week, all the hype about Indianapolis and New England. And out of that, of course, everybody knows that those are the best two teams in football. There's no doubt about it, at least to this point. But we want to examine the rest of the AFC. How far off are the next teams? And, you know, I think, guys, you have to start next with the team with the next best record and the one that is freshest in your mind, and that is the Pittsburgh Steelers off their massive victory against the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, Pittsburgh would be that next team that comes to mind, although Tennessee is also 6-2. I don't think you look at the Titans in the same light as the Pittsburgh Steelers. Titans are still developing a winning mentality and an identity in the NFL right now. Randy, as far as Pittsburgh goes, Roethlisberger seems to be back on track. The relationship with Bruce Arians has really helped. I think that was a big issue last year, and the personal problems that he had, the motorcycle accident, the appendectomy, and Ben Roethlisberger, he took a step back last year. He took a couple of steps back. He is back this season, and I think this team truly believes that Roethlisberger can get them back. Are they in the New England, Indianapolis class? No, but they're clearly number 3 in the AFC right now, don't you think?
Well, actually, I think they are in the Indianapolis New England class. I think they can play with either one of those teams. Now, they're going to have that opportunity here pretty soon to prove that. I believe as an all-around football team, all phases of the game, they deserve to be considered right there with Indy and New England. When you look at the rest of these teams, you've got some obvious flaws with every single one of them. I watched last week Jacksonville getting manhandled by the New Orleans Saints, who now moved their record to 4-4. But that was not a tough physical football team. That's something Del Rio really prides himself in. Tennessee has some obvious flaws. The Chargers, Adrian Peterson would tell you, have some obvious flaws, and they have an obvious problem with the Colts coming into town this week. So I think the rest of the AFC really is getting ready to experience a little bit of an upheaval. But if you're looking for all-around teams, the only one you can look at is the Steelers.
We'll talk more about the Titans in a segment here on the End Zone presented by TiVo with Rich Gannon a little bit later here in Week 10 as they get ready to play Jacksonville to see who that next team is behind Indianapolis in the AFC South. But, you know, the one team we haven't hit on yet is the Cleveland Browns. And, guys, they're looking to win 4 in a row for the first time since 1994. That's how long it's been since Cleveland has been this good. You know, they play Pittsburgh this weekend, and, of course, we remember that they lost. They got hammered in Week 1, but that is a completely different team. I mean, this Cleveland offense, I think, can score with any offense in the NFL. Whether they can stop anybody is a totally different story, but they can score.
The numbers show you they can't stop anybody. That's the problem with Cleveland. They're averaging 28 points per game. Very respectable. This is an explosive offense. Derek Anderson. You think the Ravens would like to have Derek Anderson back right now after they allowed the Cleveland Browns to sign him off their practice squad? This Cleveland offense is dynamic. The defense cannot stop anybody. They're allowing 29 points per game, and that will be their ultimate undoing. I think for Cleveland, though, it's a step in the right direction. It will probably save Romeo Crennel his job, although his bread and butter, Randy, is defense, and there is still a lot of improvement that has to be made on that side of the ball for this franchise.
But that's an old defense, Randy. I mean, that defense is very old in the front, especially in the front 7.
But the positive side for that, I guess, if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, is there's been more than a few coaches of late who are offensive or defensive geniuses that have taken over football teams that don't quite perform that well on their favorite side of the ball that have kept jobs for a considerable length of time. I think when you look at some of these teams and how they're going to separate, Cleveland has the opportunity this week. Jacksonville had the opportunity a couple weeks ago against Indianapolis. Tennessee will have another chance against Indy and some other top-notch opponents. You've got to have a breakout game. You've got to have that regular season game where you prove to the league and you prove to yourself that you can compete against the best. This is Cleveland's turn in the barrel. If they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, then they deserve to be considered one of the better teams in the AFC. But history would tell you, and a lot of things would tell you, the chances of that happening are pretty remote.
You know, Pittsburgh has won 8 straight against Cleveland, and they've outscored in those 8 games 234-91 or 231-94, something in that range. I mean, that's an average of 29-12. That is domination. But I don't think Pittsburgh's defense, which is phenomenal, and especially the performance that James Harrison had on Monday night, they have not seen a Cleveland offense like they're about to see on on Sunday afternoon. So that's something to look out for. I'm not saying Cleveland's going to win, but I think it's going to be a very close football game.
Just taking in what you just said, a Cleveland offense. You're talking about that in positive terms.
And it's not Brady Quinn. It's not Brady Quinn.
This hasn't happened since they've been back in the league. There's something for Browns fans to finally get excited about. And Cleveland, that's a team to keep an eye on. It's an exciting team, very fun team to watch. San Diego, that's a group that we haven't even really discussed here. Mixed feelings on them because of the high expectations. They were mentioned in the same breath as New England and Indy coming into the league this year, and now all of a sudden the Chargers are almost an afterthought.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye, Chargers. Bye-bye.
Well, you've seen them, Randy, and on that level. If Randy says bye-bye,
I think it's going to be a very disappointing season for the Chargers.
Well, that just means that if you're saying goodbye to the Chargers, that means the Chiefs win the AFC West.
I can't see that happening.
And we talked about that beforehand, but that's something we'll talk about in a couple of weeks because the Chiefs get the Broncos this week. Plenty more to come on the End Zone presented by TiVo as we roll on. It's on demand on CBSSports.com and on your TiVo DVR via TiVo Cast. The music gave me the key that we got to wrap up. Stay tuned, folks.